Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Arasich. I am the Financial Secretary for the Heat and Frost Insulators in Local 12. I want to start by saying thank you to Kevin Harvey for going ahead and opening the doors here. It's something that we really appreciate. I also want to go ahead and thank John Durso and also Roger Clayman. We're actually new members to the Long Island Fed. I actually just joined last week, and now I get a speaking engagement. Thank you. In addition, I also want to thank Congressman Ackerman, Congressman Bishop, and also Congressman Isreal for their help and what we've done in the past, and also Congresswoman McCarthy. I can say proudly that we were very, very instrumental in trying to help that everybody here on Long Island was actually reelected. And my members also appreciate it. So, I'm here to actually talk about mechanical insulation. There's a bill called the Mechanical Installation Incentive Act. It actually provides an opportunity to realize energy savings in the commercial and industrial sectors while creating jobs within the industry. The bill will create tax incentives to those that exceed the current minimum ASHRAE standards for mechanical insulation systems in new construction and retrofit projects. The tax incentive included in the legislation would allow businesses to deduct an additional amount of mechanical insulation expense from their income tax. It is estimated that this will cost $374 million over 5 years, an amount that will be recaptured in energy savings and putting Americans back to work. In 2009, when oil price was less than $60 per barrel, the industry projected that the increased mechanical insulation use would create 89,000 jobs. The industry projected also that it would reduce the carbon emissions by 43 million metric tons and save $4.8 billion in energy use annually. Today, that price of oil is a staggering $113 per barrel and climbing. In effect, this amplifies the effect of this legislation by nearly doubling the expected energy savings. We can go ahead and supply proof that one man's work on a steam pipe will go ahead and save over a 20-year period $492,000 from one day's work. With the overweighting of Republicans in Congress, Democrats are finding difficulty in securing funding and support for legislation, even when it appears to be a good investment in America. We have been told that there needs to be an offset available when it's presented at the same time the bill is introduced. The question I have to you, Congressman Isreal, is, can you explain to the audience what is the term offset, and where an offset could be found to be used in conjunction with our legislation, and what are the prospects of actually getting our legislation passed?
Look, we need to do two things in this country. We need to create jobs and we need to lower energy costs. And we can do both at the same time by making investments in new jobs to end our dependence on foreign oil. Last year, the McKinsey Corporation did a report and said there's $400 billion of work, of American jobs, building, assembling things in the United States on energy efficiency retrofits. Right now, if you go to the Empire State Building, you know what they're doing? They're taking out every single window in the Empire State Building and installing energy efficient windows. That does two things. Number one, it reduces our reliance on foreign oil to light and heat and cool the Empire State Building. Number two, it means that they've got to hire somebody to make the windows, to transport the windows, to take the old windows out, to put the new windows in, and that's how you create a new energy economy. The bill that you're talking about would actually provide tax incentives for using mechanical insulation. It would create 89,000 jobs. 89,000 jobs, new jobs, American jobs, using insulation. And the best thing about it is we don't have to borrow money from China to pay OPEC for oil to light and cool and heat those buildings. It's American jobs, American products, ending our dependence on foreign oil. The problem is this: it costs $374 million over 5 years. And we have a rule in Congress that you've got to have offsets because we have debt and deficit. Anytime you want to spend money under pay-as-you-go authority, you've got to figure out how you're going to spend it. And we don't just raise taxes, that's a bad idea. You've got to figure out how we're going to offset it. The Republicans have said we can't find any offsets. Even though it's going to create 89,000 jobs, even though it's going to save us $4.8 billion in energy costs going to OPEC, we can't find the $374 million cost. I have an offset. I mentioned it before, and I'll quit here. You're paying oil companies $4 billion a year in tax subsidies. Instead of giving big oil $4 billion a year, let's give you $500 million and put those 89,000 people back to work in American jobs. That's an